Hello, everybody. Hi, Darcy.
Hi, Jemima.
Welcome, everyone, to Awaken to Positive Power, where beautiful Darcy Marta and I talk to you regarding mental health awareness, suicide prevention, and depression, issues to do with depression. Just before we get started, there is a disclaimer down below, and there is a 1-800 number that you can reach out to if you or anybody knows, or anyone that you know is in trouble. You can, of course, also ring anonymously or ring with your name. Guys, welcome. We are coming to you from a place of friendship. You know, we have our own experiences, such as everybody does, with these dark sort of topics, but we're just trying to normalize this conversation around these topics so they don't feel so dark, or they aren't considered so dark by society. And today we actually are waiting for a guest to come, but we're just going to see what happens there. But I've been feeling a little bit wacko. As hey, that's not, for those of you who watch, that's not unusual, is it? Anyway, Das, so we were thinking about talking about the moon, yeah, the influences of the planets at the moment, which I personally really live by. Like, when I was menstrual, I lived my cycle went by the moon. My mood shifts with the moon. Full moons, I howl. New moon, yeah. There's so many things where I've noticed that the power of the planets and the moon is prevalent in my life. So what were you going to say to us about the moon at the moment? Help me.
Get me back in my body.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, according to Yasmin Boland's Moonology Diary of 2022, I really like her Moonology Diary. Very fun. We are Venus in retrograde ends today. I should have gotten my hair cut.
It ends.
Today.
Okay, that's good.
Today. So because I got it cut the other day. I really don't. It's not quite right, and that's the thing. You're not supposed to change your look during Mercury retrograde. So
Okay.
But hair grows, so who cares?
There you go. And I think it's beautiful. So it's your perspective versus everyone else.
And it's always hard to look at yourself differently, I think.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, wait a minute, you're not the person I saw yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this good or is this bad? So right now we're in a disseminating moon. Which means that the moon is finishing up its last cycle. We've passed the full moon, and before the new moon comes, and they used to say that witches made their most powerful magic during the dark of the moon.
And when is the new moon? What's the date of the new moon? Do you remember this week?
The new moon, I'll tell you is on, since I happen to have the Moonology Diary right in front of me.
I think it's this week, like the 3rd or something.
I think it's the 1st.
First, okay, beautiful.
Yes. Oh, you know why? It is very auspicious that new moon is on Tuesday. Well, it starts Monday, really. Okay. The 31st, the 1st is the new moon. And
no wonder. It explains it all, pretty much.
Yeah, so let's say, if it is a balsamic moon, if it is like the ending of a cycle, she says, Yasmin Boland says that it's a soothing time with powerful healing vibes, and it's time to make peace with life before the cycle of rebirth begins in the new moon. So let's talk about how those healing vibes and how to make peace with life before the new moon comes in. And I think the best way to make peace with anything is to decide what it is that you can let go of. How to let go of your need to control, need to make everything a certain way, and what baggage, what things have you been holding on to, not just from this past cycle, but perhaps you've been carrying with you for way too long. Maybe there has been a hurt that you've suffered, an injustice, a difficulty, trauma, and you're holding on to it. And this time, from the end of the full moon before the new moon, is a great time to release and let go.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
With that letting go thing, I'm confused sometimes with, because especially the sort of baggage you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm confused sometimes which is a habit of holding on to
Uh-huh.
and which is baggage that I'm not ready to let go of yet because I still haven't learned what I need to from. I get confused over what it is, and then I either try to let go of it and it's still there and I get annoyed, or I get confused and I'm not still working out how does one know what's the difference? Do you have a miracle? That's a loaded question, but
Yeah.
miracle answer?
Well, first of all, a lot of what you're talking about is your emotional attachment
Yes.
to circumstances and people.
Yeah.
Okay. And in your emotional attachment, and that's what I mean, like you bring up a memory and it's got a fired up feeling with it. So, and oftentimes when we're a person who's dealt with crisis, we learn that crisis is our way of life. And if we aren't in a crisis, we'll create one because we don't know how to exist without being in a crisis.
Yeah, which is crazy, isn't it? What do I do if it's peaceful? My God.
Yeah, right. There must be something missing or wrong.
it's
Right. And so that's again, we go back to that idea about where are your tools, your meditation tools, your understanding about how to embrace life. If you have a trauma or difficult relationship that when you think about them, you get really fired up about it, I would say write it out.
Right. Okay.
Write it out, write out the person, the circumstance, and stand back and look at it objectively. And we have to move into this concept of forgiveness. And the first step into that is to say, that circumstance with that person, I think, what lesson could I possibly have learned? If I can't see the lesson, I'm going to forgive myself first. I'm going to start there. I'm going to say, I was in that situation, whether I felt it was my fault or not. I had to learn something. I don't know what it is. So I forgive myself for staying attached to that situation and for not learning my lesson. I'm learning it now. Yeah, go.
Sorry, with forgiveness, can you just say that if you feel like you're not ready, if you feel like you can't feel the forgiveness, can you say it, just kind of talk yourself into it? Like, is that sort of lying to yourself, or is that a way to get to the forgiveness feeling?
Yeah, I always say, if you are, it goes back to those acting classes, Jemima. When you're feeling uncomfortable, you're probably on the right path, right? So say it out loud. Say, I forgive myself for not understanding this situation. Everything's so multi-layered. I look at that situation. I'm not ready to forgive it. That was horrible. Those people were awful. No way. It's not me. I have no participation. The problem is I'm still emotionally attached to that.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgive myself for that.
Okay.
I just forgive myself for that. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's sort of honesty too. So you're still authentic with yourself, because you're still pissed off, even though you can't say you can't forgive them yet, but you forgive yourself for that. Okay, I like that.
Right.
Because I know that the critic in myself comes out when I say I try to forgive, and then I realize I'm not, and I think, oh my God, I feel like a fraud again, and I hate feeling like a fraud. It just drives me crazy because I spent so much time in my life being a fraud with the drug addiction that I never want to be as authentic as possible. So that's a really good key, Dust, to own your inability to forgive, and that's beautiful. And you can forgive that. Yeah, that's a beautiful place.
Absolutely. That's a great place to start. I don't know how to forgive that situation. I don't know how to walk away from that and say, okay, goodbye. I forgive myself for that. I don't have to know how right now, but I'm willing to learn eventually. You can tell yourself, I don't have to know how to do that right now, but I am willing to learn eventually. I am willing to learn eventually. I don't need those situations to have power over me for the rest of my life. I don't know how to do it now, but I forgive myself for that. I'm working on it. I'll get there when I'm ready.
And do you think with that enlightenment can possibly happen in terms of because you've owned that you suddenly get a moment where you go, oh, now you can feel, because we were talking about just voicing your concern or depression sometimes lifts it 100%, or like at least 10, you know, whatever percentage it is, but it makes you feel so much better, yeah, than when it just stuck inside you. Do you think
Yeah,
that owning that and voicing that can lead to an enlightenment of how to then forgive yourself with that, letting that situation go?
absolutely. And I think when we say stuff out loud, it's really important because we hear ourselves, we feel the emotional connection to what we're holding on to. It's when we keep it inside and it keeps rolling around in there like big old rocks in our head, boom, 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 rocks down inside of the pit of our stomach, and it's just rolling around in us. And, you know, and then we try to maintain, right? Maintain.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it, you know, and it does, then it comes out inappropriately,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because we've been trying to maintain, I've been trying to say, I don't know how, and, but I got to be okay. And, you know, that was a long time ago and I don't want to deal, blah, blah, blah. So I had these personal situation happen with really close members of my family.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, this one particular family member was someone that I had always looked up to because I was taught to look up to that person.
Okay.
I was taught that person was the smartest, that person was the most talented, that person was the, you know, the leader of being smart and talented and intelligent and gifted. And all the rest of us just had to sit back in awe of that person.
Yeah.
And, you know, and for years, that's the person that I thought I should have more talent like or be that smart. You know,
Okay.
I would never be smart. I would never be talented because I was never going to be that person. Person was a huge pedestal.
Wow.
And then this person fell because of drug addiction and alcohol
Wow.
and found, and I didn't realize that for years the drug addiction was there and the alcohol use was there, and I didn't see it because I was so clouded by how I was trained into seeing them. And then it got uglier and uglier and uglier until it was just a horrifying dissolution of our relationship and the whole 9 yards. It just became horrifying at a point in our life when it should have been the most beautiful. It was the most horrible. And for a couple of years I've been running around feeling just stunned by the whole thing. You know, how could I have not have seen it? Why didn't I have a better understanding of this? How could I ever forgive this person? You know, people are always telling me, let it go, move on. It's like, screw you, let it go, move on. This was devastating, devastating. And I finally have understood
Wow.
how to move on, let it go. And it was really because of, I had to look at my relationship to myself first.
Okay. Okay.
I had to say, I had to find in me, can I love myself?
Okay.
Do I love myself? Do I understand what I did with that relationship to them and my relationship to myself?
As in, you were like seeking love and acceptance from them rather from within.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can never idolize anybody. Everybody is, you know, has wonderful attributes. Everybody is,
We're all human.
we're all human. We're all capable of amazing things, and we're all capable of just terrible.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the most important thing is to have really strong boundaries and to understand where you fit in and what you will allow and what you won't allow. And so I finally said, you know, yeah, I'm ready. I forgive this person. That doesn't mean I condone their actions. That doesn't mean I want to hang around them. That doesn't mean I want them to come into my life or be near me, regardless of blood ties and all that kind of garbage that we put on people. Oh, they're your family. You need to have them. It's like, no, I refuse to bring people into my world that don't honor my boundaries, that don't
And
honor me as a person.
yeah,
I don't have to put up with that. Go ahead.
can I ask you with the apology, or the acceptance of, was that just with you? Like,
Yeah.
so you can go to that person and say,
No.
and they don't need, like, one, not just you, but one doesn't need to have to face whatever or
Not
look
at
at.
all.
It's really a very personal thing to be able to.
Very personal, right? Because you're the one that's carrying the emotional attachment to it.
Okay.
It's not, it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with you and your need or your continued conditioning to carry it with you or not. And so, I mean, I wrote a whole big list about all the things and people that I've been carrying around. And I realized, you know, that what's the through line here? The through line here is me and how I deal with relationships and what, you know, my unreasonable expectations of people and situations and how I put myself in situations. Not that I'm to blame. I'm not saying that I am to blame, not at all. I'm just saying that what my unreasonable expectations of a relationship might have been.
Okay.
You know, how I was expecting someone to be something that they didn't sign up for.
Yeah.
And they probably couldn't do anyway.
Yeah.
Right? I'm expecting this person to be a husband who can't be a husband, you know, or I'm expecting this person to, you know, be my guide who can't guide themselves.
Yeah.
You know, you know, and I'm looking outside of myself for everybody else to be more than I am, as opposed to looking at myself to say, you have to find your power where you are and love who you are. Once you love who you are with your power, it's so much easier to forgive.
But what about, I hear you. But what about forgiving, but that cord cutting? You know, when someone is such a strong energy with you,
Yeah.
and you still feel them. How can you maintain your forgiveness when the cord is still alive from that situation?
That is an excellent question. That's exactly right. Because circumstances, events create almost like an umbilical cord between you and the other person. So there's a couple ways to do that, Jemima. There's a couple ways to do that. And I'm all about ceremony. Ceremony is a fantastic thing. Hey, when you visit me,
yes,
you are coming to visit me.
Yes, I'm going to visit her. We're going to actually do a live one together. It'll be my first time. Anyway, yep.
Yeah, well, when you come to visit me, let's do a cord cutting ceremony.
Beautiful. Love to.
Let's do a cord cutting ceremony to cut the cord and release the person and let them move. Or
yes, please.
away. One of the things you can do for yourself right now, and anyone watching can do this, this is a great time of the month to do this, is write down your list of things and people that you really want to let go of. You know, maybe you haven't been able to forgive somebody, or you haven't been able to let go of your emotional attachment to past situations, you know, people who, you know, you felt misused you or mistreated you, or, you know, it was unjust. Write it down. Write down everybody that you want to let go, or just pick one. Pick one that might be giving you the most hang up and write it down. And then you want to write it down with, you know, I release you with the highest possible good for both of us.
Okay.
I release you with love and knowing that the highest possible good is possible for both of us.
Okay, sorry, I have to interrupt there.
Yeah.
When you but that to me, I feel I'd be lying away. As much as I want to release the person, but I don't want to be. I know, and I do wish the best, but I can't release necessarily with the goodness that is really that good. I don't know. I'm not meaning to be sounding horrible, people, but it's a battle to sort of. I'd rather.
I get it.
Can you just be neutral and say I wish you the best, or like, you know, I don't want to lie to the universe and to my gift of cutting the cord.
Yes, whatever way you need to say it, say it. Okay. Sure.
You're too generous, Darcy. You're too generous. No, you've cut though. You've done that sort of cord cutting, and so that
I'm doing it. I'm doing this one tonight because I really decided that, yeah, you know, I've been carrying this kind of animosity around in the back of my mind somewhere. And I really want to make space for new energy. And I have to just get rid of all those, it's like you're carrying a backpack full of
Yeah.
people, and events, and it's very heavy, and it's like, dump it out. You can go, you can go, you can go, you can go. And
Spring clean type thing.
and it really, again, the common denominator is me. I'm the one that's been carrying these things. Somebody just sent me an email about, she said, she was saying, that she really judges people harshly, especially celebrities, and like musicians, they'll maybe make an amazing song, the most amazing song ever, and you love it. And then you find out that they have a thing, they're maybe a pedophile, or you find out that they, that they did some terrible thing, or they have some horrible philosophy. And she goes, and then I can't even listen to their music anymore. And I said to her, I feel like you don't have to condone their actions, right? Artists are artists, and we hold them to an unreasonable expectation to be bigger and better than the rest of humanity, and they are simply exactly like us.
Yeah.
And for whatever their circumstances were that conditioned them to make bad choices, how can I judge that? Right? There's that old saying, you have to walk a mile in a person's shoes to understand them. And I said, well, that's not enough, because that person has walked thousands of miles. And here we only want to walk 1 mile to understand them. No, there's thousands of things that have happened to that individual, and that I would have no way of knowing about or understanding, their ability to deal with the world and its difficulties and its circumstances. And if they've given into their shadow and at times, and have done bad actions, it's not for me to judge them. I don't condone it. I don't need to be around it. I don't want to support that. But I did tell her this. She goes, well, then what about when other people hire them? And I said this, well, there's 2 kinds of people that hire them. There are the people that see their potential for good, right? Let's say they look at you. Oops, I got to plug in my computer. They look at you and they see in you your potential for your highest good. And so they're willing to give you a second chance, right? They'll give you a second chance by hiring you. Or they don't care, and they're just they've got the same shadow issue that you have.
Yeah.
And so
they use it as commercialism. They can use it as a prop for getting people to listen more, or whatever it may be.
Right. I have to just stop my video a second.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Are you going to pause?
I have to pause a second. I have to get my charger. I don't know what happened to it.
Yep, no worries.
Somebody's borrowed it. Hang
on. Can you still hear me?
I can.
You can. Okay, so what I'm going to when I was in San Francisco, the way I forgave my stalkers was to actually, the only way I could was to look at how bad their life must have been to bring them to a phase in their life where they terrorize people. Like, that was the only way I could forgive and move forward out of, I'm still processing it, but out of that trauma, was to really feel pity for the situation that made them become such an evil person.
Right. I mean, you have to process your feelings.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And you have to move away from being a victim. And the only way to move away from being a victim is to go, wow, you guys are really screwed up. I'm really sorry you had such a horrible life that you've become this horrible person. I gotta go. I'm not a victim. You're not in my head anymore.
And then how do you, I mean, that was my whole challenge. Like, I felt like so angry, and how was I to let go of this anger? Whilst they don't care, didn't get a hoo-ha.
Right.
But I felt like the trauma that was put him into my life because of them was like I had to just feel like, God, you poor things, you have no idea what beauty is. You have no idea what love is. You have
Right.
no idea what the sun shining on your face, making it warm, feels like.
Right.
And that is so sad, and
It's
then I was
so
able to
sad.
go, wow, that's powerful, because they're bastards. I mean, they're so evil
Yeah.
that they had the worst possible life. That's the only energy within them is evil. They had no concept of goodness. I couldn't even feel, I could see the devil in them, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but the power of being able to sort of understand
Pity.
someone
Send them
else's.
your, yeah, send them your pity and walk away and say, wow, I'm not a victim to that kind of individual anymore.
Yeah,
Thanks for teaching me to be strong and resilient. I don't need that lesson anymore.
yeah, exactly.
Wow. That
I mean,
was, yeah.
she didn't teach a wonderful thing in a way, but like, just that
Yeah.
was really amazing to see, to also understand the levels of humans, like like I always believe that there's always good in everyone, but I've realized that there's some like angels or saints, they're so good that you don't see any, they work to be the best possible, and they just have an innate angelic energy. And that was when I really was confronted with facing that there are devils as well, there are demons in this world, who not as children, but as the adult form of energy, that I had to face, that there is no good in that person anymore to compensate for the angels or the saints. But it was just really hard. That was the most heartbreaking thing, to think like, I've got to stop having hope to find something good in this person, because that's going to be the demise of me. Yeah, it's like, that's not possible. And that's where they choose to be. They're there to create a life lesson for someone like myself. All this, it was just one of the hardest things though to face, that someone is just evil, is just
Yeah,
not.
people who experience violence at the hands of other humans, and then to tell them you need to forgive and let go. That's not my place to do. All I want to tell an individual is to love yourself and know that you are not a victim.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah.
You're not a victim. If your circumstance was to put you in the same vibrational sphere as that evil person, you're not there anymore.
Yeah,
Remember that you are not there anymore.
yeah,
They
and
are, it's in the past, and the
and it
past
definitely
no
got,
longer exists. And then
yeah,
you get into mindfulness and you say, there is only now.
yeah,
There is time is only now. The past does not exist anymore. I am now safe.
mhm,
I am here now. And I release my emotional attachment to that, knowing that that was horrifying and debilitating and etc. I mean, this is a big, huge process.
yeah.
Forgiveness is a huge process.
So
And
many layers to it too.
so many layers. There's little forgiveness. I always say, do things in little bits that you can do. Do a little one that you can do. It doesn't have to be another person. It could be something that you've been carrying around, you've been feeling guilty about, or something that, a behavior you want to let go of, or maybe it was, a smaller event, something, a bad decision, or an accident or whatever that you're holding on to emotionally, that you are able to release. Right now is the time to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
It really is a nice time to do it. And then just to say, um, I bless the past and all past experiences. The past is gone and I am free.
is that
I
the cork cutting?
No, that's just right now. And then once you write your list, oh, I forgot to finish this.
Yeah, no,
So
I
once you
interrupt.
write your list and you write down, I release the past and all past experiences, I am free. That's a Louise Hay, by the way.
Okay, okay.
I release the past and all past experiences, I am free. I am willing to let this go. And you write it on your paper, and then you're going to burn your paper tonight. So go ahead and burn it. You can burn it with some incense. You can burn it with some sage. You can burn it with just household cinnamon, by the way. Household cinnamon is a wonderful thing to burn. If you don't have sage or incense in your house, household cinnamon, you can put a little bit on your burner and just sprinkle it, and it sparks. It's very pretty. Or a cinnamon stick will burn, like the kind that you put in apple cider and you just kind of let it soak in there. You can burn that. That smells quite like incense, but
Is it really flammable?
The
So you're
cinnamon,
not, like, is it ignite, I should say.
no, the cinnamon sticks, the
Yeah, yeah.
rolled cinnamon sticks, they smolder. They
Okay, okay.
smolder. They light a little bit and then they smolder, much like incense does.
Okay.
But you got to pay attention to anything that's burning in your house. And don't go under your fire alarms with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But if you have just powdered cinnamon and you turn on the burner and then you just sprinkle it on it, it goes.
Oh,
It's
wow.
quite,
Okay.
yeah, it's quite pretty, and then it smells like.
Good too.
Yeah, it smells amazing. It smells amazing. So if you don't have incense, if you don't have sage, then cinnamon is a nice choice. And then if you don't have a fireplace or a burn pit or a burn pot, just burn it and burn it in your kitchen sink. Burn it in your kitchen sink and say, I release the past and all past experiences. I'm free. I forgive and I love myself. I forgive and I love myself. Time is now. I am here now. Time is now, and I am here now. I am in this space now, with me now. And I appreciate myself, my resilience, my ability to stand here, my ability to even consider letting go of the past is a big deal. I might not be able to release the past completely, but I'm considering it. And that is a great big step forward. So, I love myself. I am here now in this moment. And that's the idea for this disseminating moon, to do that now. Okay. Yeah. And then on the new moon, well, we'll talk. We'll talk about the new moon when we get there. So that's something that I'm working on, releasing and forgiveness right now, because I really need to move forward. I have all these ideas that I want to do, and sometimes you don't have the energy to move forward, and that's partly because we're carrying too much with us. We really are, right? Yeah. Does that make
sense? My guest had a mistake with time, so it'll just be you and I. But I was wondering, we've only done like 35-minute talk, but did you want to keep it short today? And maybe I don't know. I'm feeling kind of discombobulated.
Sure.
And could you do a card or whatever you feel appropriate for us chatting? It was been. I mean, by the way, everyone, this freaking awesome conversation.
Right?
Not to dismiss us.
Right?
I mean, I love chatting with this lady because she's freaking rocks, and we just sort of bounce off each other. And I love to, not afraid when I question her too, like, and I go, no.
Well,
So,
I love it. I have to tell you, Jemima, I have struggled with this concept of forgiveness for ages. I mean, I've been through 2 divorces. I've been, through a variety of career changes and, big devastating family issues. And this whole, I felt really ever gave me a good hand.
I'm losing you. Sorry, just repeat that last bit.
Oh, my connection is unstable.
It's Mercury. Don't worry, it'll be over next week. Yeah, I know. So it's your camera. Yeah. Are you just say again? Sorry.
Okay, I was saying that I've struggled with that whole idea about forgiveness for years. I've taken so many gazillion meditation classes from so many gazillion different types of teachers, and they all talk about forgiveness and letting go. And when you're emotionally connected to a circumstance or a past or a relationship, it's really hard. It's really hard. And the hook I finally found was me.
Yeah.
Is that if I love myself for who I am right now and all I've been through, and I see my greatness, because we all have greatness in us, right? This is something I teach to my little kids. Can I tell you about your greatness today? You're really showing your greatness, right? I do this with the little kids a lot. Oh, he screamed at you and you were scared and you didn't hit him, push him, or yell at him. That shows your greatness, I'd say. And then I walked away going, well, what about my greatness? I haven't told
Yeah.
I haven't told myself my greatness. I need to start doing that. I tell my little kids about their greatness all the
Yeah.
time. Oh, I see he took your train away and it really made you upset and you're mad, mad, mad. But you didn't yell and you didn't go hit him. You know, you came and got a teacher. That means you know how to take care of yourself. You got some help. That shows your greatness, I'd say. And then I walked away going, well, I could really use some of that greatness. So, you know, it's just once I understood that, tell yourself, Jemima, today about your greatness.
Mhm.
Tell yourself today about your resiliency.
Mhm.
And tell yourself, you know, your greatness is in the fact that you are willing to change. You are willing to heal yourself.
Mhm.
And you are willing to look for the goodness in you and in others, even when it seems like it's not there.
Mhm.
That is greatness. That is greatness.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you know, you could stay in your shadow forever,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But that
What a waste
shows,
of time and energy, though, hey? So,
right,
yeah.
right. There's so much more, like you said, beauty in the world. So tell yourself about your greatness today.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll take that. Permission granted. Yes, please.
Right? And once I learned to do that, I found I could let go of a lot of stuff.
Okay, okay.
I can let go of a lot more stuff than you know, when I first started writing on what do I want to let go of, I'm like, I am so ready to let go of so many things that I didn't even realize I was still hanging on to. So I
Wow.
feel, yeah, because I finally could find my greatness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's massive. That's huge. So congratulations, and I will, yeah, I'll take those steps of and you know, and tell me how you do after your ritual and how it feels to as you progress through this new way of acknowledging your own love, self love. You know, like and how that helps you release the past or the baggage or the demons or wherever it may be. You know, just keep us posted with your progression with it.
I
So
will.
I'm still
I
working
can
my way.
even hate my haircut and still like
Oh,
find my
Das, you look beautiful, my love. You look beautiful.
thank you. Okay. So let's see, who do we want to call on? Let's pull some, you want to pull some energy cards?
Sure,
So
love
that's
to.
where your energy is. Okay. Let's pull some energy cards. Okay. And then I have a new idea I'm going to talk to Jemima about later and run by her. So maybe we'll have some new stuff to talk to
Exciting.
about on our discussion and look
Love
at.
to.
Jemima, do you have a question or a subject matter you want me to, do you want me to pull a card on this concept of forgiveness and
Yeah,
letting
yeah.
go?
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay.
I can't even think about a question right now. You know, I feel like I feel strange, but that's okay. It's good to know the planets and I'm okay. It's all
You're
right.
in the right place. This is
Yeah.
the time to be quiet with your feelings and kind to your body and do something nice for somebody that you love and something little like
Yeah.
give them a rock that you find that's
Mhm.
pretty or give them a something, a squeeze, an extra squeeze, right?
I'm
Uh,
making dinner tonight and watching a movie, so that's nice to be able to give that way, you know. And I used to do that, but never be received. So it's really nice to have someone who receives it lovingly in return. It's just like, oh my God, you're so, it's so simple little things, you know. But that the thank you and the love in return, it's just like, oh my God, this is why I used to do it. This is what, and it's not expectations, but it's just a human relationship, you know. It's a human relationship that way you give,
yeah,
someone appreciates it, and it's just nice to be appreciated, you know.
being intimate, being, and I'm when I say intimate, I mean like
Emotionally.
yeah, you know, to be together in a little in a place, right? To be together and oh, okay.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Here,
Okay, here we go.
again, I you know, I don't know these cards really well, so it's always kind of a fun thing. So I'm using the energy oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor.
Mhm.
Okay. And I pulled the Angel of Balance.
Oh, how funny. Wow. Okay. I get it already. You don't even have to read it. Yeah. Okay. No, please do. Please do. Those 1,000,000 words are so funny.
Yeah, because we were talking about letting go and
finding, and like not relying on someone else, like your own inner self-worth, that's a form of balance. Just the whole thing. Balance is very hard for me, especially being an emotional person.
Right. And that's what you need in order to release and forgive, right? Okay, so angel of balance is being centered and self-honoring in your choices. This loving presence holds a picture of liquid light in front of some pyramids. See.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
And reminding you that a strong destiny relies on a solid foundation of personal balance and emotional equanimity. Although things may have been out of sync in the past, this card is telling you that a greater equilibrium is now coming to your life.
My God.
Remain conscious about how you are balancing your goals and your physical and emotional energy as well. Whenever you feel yourself getting off center or losing focus, call upon this beautiful angel. You were talking about angels, and bring her intention into your heart center. Your intuition will lead you in the right direction, and the angel will guide you to a peaceful and centered approach. That's
beautiful.
It's a great idea. Perfect. The angel of balance. And then the affirmation is, I live a balanced and centered life. As I care for myself, the universe cares for me also.
Beautiful.
As I care for myself,
the universe
cares for me also. That's right. When you honor yourself and love yourself, the universe will show you that same energy back.
It'll give you tenfold back, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, Darcy, you're amazing. Such a great conversation with you. I love it. And we'll keep you posted, guys, if anything. And our guest hopefully will come another week, another time, another day. But I think it actually sparked Darcy and I to have a really good impromptu conversation, as we do. But I really like this one. It was good. So peace out, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Have a great week. Happy new moon. And we'll see you next week. Mwah. Thanks, Darcy. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Jemima.